So I just picked up some parts from Porsche, which I need to carry on with the engine. So I've got the gaskets for the plenum here, and I've got a new gasket for the oil pump on this side. And I also have one of these little, where is it? One of these little clips here, which broke when I was taking it off, which is in fact on this plenum here. So, yeah, hopefully make a bit of progress today. So looking to get the plenum back on, the wiring loom back on, the cover back on here and all sealed down, and then get the new gaskets on these parts here. So I'm quite looking forward to it. Everything's clean, everything's ready to go. So replacement gaskets for the plenum, they're the same part number both sides, but there is a specific way they go up. Now I don't know if they've got actually Orm or top written on them, but yeah, from what I can deduce, this is the underside, so the bevel or the little lip goes pointing upwards. So I'm going to fit that on this side now. So just securing the intake down to the cylinder head, and it's 10 Newton meters, which is already set on this. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So I'm going to go from the inside to the out. Hey. Is incredibly light. 10 Newton meters. There you go. With thread lock, obviously. Okay. Yeah. And there we are. Okay, so I've laid the wiring loom over the engine, and it's pretty straightforward actually the way it goes back in. I did take a load of photographs though. What do I want to say? Yeah, so I've got to put the fuel rail in, but before I do that, I've got to actually rub the fuel rail down and paint it because it's quite corroded, and then everything will go back in on this side. Just going around the little earth points like this, I haven't cleaned those up, so what I'm going to do is clean these up. I've already retapped all of the M6 bolt holes here, all the threads, but what I'm going to do is, you know, go around and clean up these earth points as well, because they're quite corroded as well. So I've made up a little stick with some emery paper on. Okay, so I've got both surfaces tidied up there, here as well, and I'm going to put a little bit of grease in there just to protect it. Word of warning when you're putting in these bolts for the intake and the cover here, there are two different lengths. So the intake, they take the 35mm, which are marked with I think WS 8.8 on the top, and the ones on the cover, they're 30mm and they are WS 6.0. So what I've done is I've mixed up 3 of them somewhere on the intake plenums, and I'm going through to find them. And it's annoying because obviously I've Loctited them in there. So luckily I found one of them literally by looking at the stamped markings on the top of the bolt. As I say, the shorter ones are WS 6.0 and the long ones WS 8.8. So I've actually managed to find one of them, and sure enough, it's the wrong size. So I'm swapping that out, but I've got 2 more to find. Okay, so that has got now all of the right bolts in this plenum or air intake here, so the 35mm. So now I've just got to clean these ones up and use those on the cover here. Yep, just when he thought it was getting towards spring, the temperatures have dropped from 13 degrees literally overnight to about 0 degrees, and it's now snowing. Okay, so just putting the cover plate back onto the cylinder head, there is a method or a sequence in which you put these bolts in, these 30mm bolts in. Now I have just done it because I couldn't mess about once I put the sealant on the back of the cover plate, so I literally just had to go and do it, so I couldn't really film it, but it's 13 Newton meters. I tell you, this book, by the way, if anybody's doing this work, you have to buy this book, at the very least this book. It's about €200, which isn't cheap, but it's a lifesaver, and it's got everything in there you need. So as I say, the sequence is as follows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And as I say, 13, I hope I just said 13, it's 13, there you go, cylinder head cover to cylinder head, M6 by 30mm is 13 Newton meters. And I've got, where is it? Here, this is a Proxon one, which is pretty good. There's the 13 Newton meters. So this is the one I use. Where can I show you there you go. That's the model number, and that's really good, that. So I'm really pleased because this is something I've been wanting to do for ages. Focus. And yeah, the cylinder head cover is now back on and torqued up. I'm really pleased. Okay, so I'm now putting on the return oil pump. So I've cleaned up this surface here, so you'll see a bead of sealant coming all the way around here. And it doesn't have to be thick at all, so I'm quite pleased with how it's sort of come out, and I'm just going to leave it like that. So clean up this part here, and up here and down here on the joints. They're all nice and clean. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give these bolts here for the return pump a clean, so I can put some thread locker on them and put that in. I've also got a new gasket or sealing ring for the oil pump, and I'm just going to put that in 2 ticks with a bit of, oh no, actually I was just going to say put a bit of oil in it, but they say to put nothing in it whatsoever. So what have I done with it? Here it is. So in a little bag. So I'm going to put it in completely dry, which is unusual to say the least, I must admit, but that's what they say. That is now in there. Oh, bloody hell. That is really annoying, it just doesn't want to stay in there at all. hopefully that'll just get it to stick in there. It just doesn't want to stay in that. I don't think you can see that, but it just keeps popping out of its groove, which is pretty annoying. Why doesn't it want to stay in there? Is that going to stay in there now? Right. Let's have a look. Oh, I should give that one last clean, I guess. No. Oh. Yep, so there was a bit of sealant still on there. It's just these engines, you can never seem to get them clean enough. Right, so here goes. Make sure those arrows are up. Has that stayed in? Let me just take it out again. Yeah, it stayed in. Good, good. It's an incredibly tight fit. Yikes. Oh, I'm really nervous now that that's not going in. But okay, right, now what we're going to do, put a bit of thread locker on these bolts. There we go. And away we go. And there we go. Right, the last thing to go on is this cap. So, I'll put that on. And they say not to use any sealant on that either. So no sealant here, no sealant here. So, next job is to put the solenoid caps and seals on. I'll do that now. Okay, so now I'm putting on these solenoid caps. So basically what they have is, and I'm going to put oil on these ones, I don't care what anybody says. Just seems a bit odd not to. Go on there like that, and this one has a holder on it. Actually, let's do the oily stuff first. So. Go. Straight. Okay, quite a bit of oil I put on there actually. Give that a clean off. Ooh. Yeah, look, I mean, basically, this thing comes out, so got to be a bit careful. get it in the right place. Right, so that. Just make sure these go in here. It all lines up. Yep. Okay. Right, so now what I'm going to do is put a bit of, oh god, I've got oil everywhere now. Hang on a minute. Okay, so got all that tied up. Now I'm going to put some Loctite on there, and these are 10 Newton meters. So a little bit less than the cover bolts. And there we are. Done. Oh yes, very exciting, very exciting. Basically I'm going to put the fuel rail back on after I've cleaned it up and painted it, and then obviously the wiring loom will come back down and, oh no, it's this way, and connect up. The other side I've already connected up. Okay, so I've put all of the coil packs back on, all of the cabling. I see that I've got a broken bracket here, so I'll have to find out. I don't know if any of you have got a good idea of how I can fix that. I'm not sure I can buy a new one, so probably have to sell me the whole loom, but essentially the clip has broken. Obviously when I was taking it off, it's quite solid in there, maybe a small cable tie or something neat. But I've got everything connected back up. Obviously the fuel rail has to go back in, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the tool which I made to lock the camshafts in place, and then I can put the seals in here. Okay, so I'm packing up now and leaving for the day, but I'm very pleased with this weekend's, or maybe really this week's work that I've done, and especially on the engine. I've made progress on that today, or over the last couple of days, which I've been, you know, wanting to do or planning to do for literally years, and I'm really getting the engine back together now, so it's really exciting. So the next thing is to get the plenum back on. I think everything is connected up down here. Obviously I've got to get the fuel rails cleaned up and put back on, and then I've got to buy the dual mass flywheel, but then, oh, and then I've got to fit the new AOS as well. That's going to go on there, but I've got that, and that's pretty much the engine then done. So quite exciting. So I'm going to leave it there now and head off, and probably come up next weekend. So I'll see you soon.